Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mario with Your Outdoor Adventures. To our return viewers, thank you very much for being here. Do appreciate it. And to our newer viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully you pick something up in the video that brings you back and you want to watch a follow-up or a future video with us. We are right now airing on or live streaming on Facebook Live. The video will also be moved over to YouTube later on. This will be a reviewed by Your Outdoor Adventures video, and today we are discussing the Cabela's deluxe meat grinder that I picked up from Bass Pro Shop last year. We're going to go to a quick presentation of this, how to put it together, the parts that were included with it, my feelings on it. I've only used it twice so far, but I am a fan. I'll be using it again. We've got some squirrel as well as some venison that I'll run through the grinder for you as well. Already have a block of the ground venison. This is going to be, we call it the Roadkill Cafe chili. It's basically going to be venison, squirrel, game meat, and then just the regular seasonings. I had a rabbit somewhere in the freezer. I'm not digging it out. I couldn't find it, so we're just going to go on from there. Once again, guys, if you are here, thank you very much for viewing. Do appreciate it. I can't see if anybody's actually watching, so we're just going to move through the video. I do appreciate it. If you guys have a meat grinder that you use, drop it in the comments. Let me know which one you guys are using. What do you guys use your meat grinders for? I've only used mine for venison so far. I've not done the squirrel, but we are going to use the smaller holes. And I'm going to mince up I'm going to cut some of this off of the bone. I'm going to run that through the grinder. I'll run it through with the venison, and then we'll go ahead and mix that in. I'll be left over with chunks of meat still in the bone. I'll boil those later or saute them later for myself. But we'll go ahead. I'm going to put this together for you, show you how this connects. So once again, it's the Cabela's deluxe meat grinder. I'll drop a link for a comparable meat grinder on Amazon as well. Save you guys a couple dollars if you want. Okay, so putting this together first, we have the meat grinder. Meat grinder is already plugged in, and then we have our components. Now, I don't want to use the real big hole feeder for the squirrel. I want the squirrel minced up. So we're going to take the threading. That's going to go into here. Slide the cutter on, slide the feeder tube, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the actual part is called. Washer, so it'll rotate in your part here. This, it goes together super simple. It just all feeds right through. We're going to screw the cap down, make sure that's nice and tight. That still allows the inside for it to spin. This just slides on, clips up in place, locks in, and your meat grinder is put together. You have reverse, stuff, and grind. Now we are going to be doing the grinding, so this gets loud for a moment. And then reverse. Help you get some of that meat that gets stuck in there and pull it out. All right, what I'm not sure of is actually, hang on. Okay, just wanted to make sure that was in place. What confused me is, okay, so there's a groove here, and alright, there we go. Just felt like I had it a little too tight. Wanted to go ahead and make sure that, well, I almost burned this out the first time I used it. I put it on reverse and didn't realize I was in reverse. I was just holding it down. Alright, so there we go. Alright, so first, I'll go ahead and get some of the squirrel meat. Squirrels were shot with the 177 air rifle out of the backyard. Once again, I just want some of the meat off of the bones. And doing this live, you get all fidgety and anxious. At least I do. Once again, do appreciate you guys being here. All right. There we go. All this meat right here off of the side and the ribs. Nice big flap of meat. Take that out. Cut this meat off of the legs. Now I'm using the Bass Pro razor blade, not razor blade, fillet knife. Cuts like a razor blade though. Like I said, whatever meat's left over, I'm going to end up sauteing these down because I'm not throwing that away. I'll actually eat the rest of the meat on those. And we'll just do that with some butter, some onion, some seasonings. So we went out this morning. We did some drone flying this morning. Hung out with Terry and Heather and Kyle. Kyle went home, found his drone that he had stored away. So we will be doing a flying video on his drone as well. Okay. And then the chili that we're going to be doing, this is just going to be regular seasoning, some chili beans, red pepper, cumin, garlic, salt, pepper, ground red pepper, cinnamon, and chocolate for some sweetness. My buddy Mike, his mom, whenever she would make chili, always did the chocolate morsels in the chili, and always gave it an awesome taste. The sweetness of it would kick in with the heat, and it was really good. Sorry for not making a lot of eye contact. I want to go ahead and just get this meat off of these bones. And right off of the spine, almost like you're doing a deer. Get that meat up, like the back loin, if you will, the not even sure what it's, the back strap of the squirrel, I guess. And then anybody that hasn't had squirrel before, you're actually missing out. It's actually really good meat. And that's just, we're just getting the back straps off the squirrel, get as much of the big meat as we can. And then I'll cook this big chunk of meat right there off the back side. Just make sure I'm not getting any of the bone and none of the ligaments and tendons. Well, some of the tendons are there, but so we got that one out of the way. I'm actually going to take the meat off of this one. I like going ahead and just cooking some of those legs up just the way they are, just by themselves. And then the funny thing is, go ahead and comment for me too. How do you guys store your meat in the freezer, and for how long? I've actually had some of this venison since last year. I put mine in Ziploc bags full of water and freeze it and turn it into an ice cube, and then just thaw the whole block out when I'm ready to use it. So that deer meat is a year old and you wouldn't know. There we go. See, now taking our time and cutting down, get right into the joint itself. Well, that one worked. This one wants to be a little bit more pain. There we go. Doesn't work with finesse, just force it, right? And then we're supposed to eventually meet up with Fish North Georgia and Danny Pruitt. I know for his hunting episodes, he was talking about doing like a potluck for game meat. So Danny, if you are watching, just know that I have more venison in the freezer, and I did not use it all for this batch. Got plenty of meat. I will have to go ahead and get a couple more squirrels. I had 5 in the freezer, so we're down to 2. Almost done with this one. And then I wish I could actually see what you guys were saying. If you are in there commenting, I do appreciate it. Just with the way this is set up, I'm on the phone and I cannot see if anybody's actually having a conversation. And then all that meat right off of the side of the ribs. Leaves the whole rib cage intact, no issues. Stomach muscle, chest muscle. Save the rest of that for later. And then this one's nice and heavy. Got some good meat on this one. And where's the bone? There. And so yeah, I don't know. So I'm not good at filling space with dead air, guys. This is one of the reasons I like having a little bit of a group to talk to while I'm doing this, and I do the live, so I can actually see what's being said. So let's see. The squirrels were shot out of the backyard with a 177 air rifle. Don't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll have to go ahead and look that up for you guys. It's a 177 Tyrant, I believe, is what it was called, but does the job. One nice round from the pellet, well placed, and does the job easily. Okay, well, I can get rid of that. This was a male. All right, and we are almost ready to run that grinder and run this meat through with the venison. I'm going to run off a screen real quick because I did forget the seasonings. I do like to add some seasoning in with the meat as I'm grinding it as well, just so it gets in the meat itself. Obviously, you can always go back and mix it later with your hands. I just find that I like it when it's in the meat as I'm actually prepping it. If I can get this last piece of meat off, we'll be good to go. There we go. And all right, so save those squirrels for later. Let me run and get the seasoning real quick. Now I will re-season and retouch everything up later as we're cooking it, but we've got ground red pepper, some cinnamon, some paprika, some cumin, and some pepper. And we are going to, I'm going to cut some of this deer down just to make it easier to run through the grinder as well. So you get different push tubes with it. I get feeder tubes or shove tubes, whatever you want to call them. I learned the hard way the first time. Be careful because they're brittle when you put them down and you push them down too far or incorrectly. And I actually went ahead, had to go back through and separate some of the meat because there was small chunks of plastic in it the first time I did this. And then I'm not sure what cuts these are off of the venison. Like I said, I field dressed this deer last year. do it right in the garage. I don't see a point in paying a processor to do it. I hang it in the garage over a wheelbarrow on a tarp and take care of it right here. All right, and dump some seasonings in there. And I'm generous with this, guys. I mean, it's not hurting my feelings because I'll go back and retouch everything up later on. The red pepper, I am not so generous on. Sandra is a huge fan of red pepper. I like a little bit of heat, not too much heat. Some cinnamon. Some black pepper. And then I actually run my meat through twice, just to go ahead and make sure I got a nice grind on this. I'll have chunky meat in some chilies, some will just be fine. This is actually just more fine than anything, but you'll see this here in a second. Okay, and then we are going to so this is a good one. All right, guys, it's gonna be nice and loud for a minute. We're gonna go ahead and run this through, and we're gonna put it on grind. Smells amazing. I'll let out a little bit. unlock this if it hasn't been on. Throw it in reverse. And now we're going to go ahead and put it back and forward again. And we're going to pull this out. Second here, just wipe this off real quick. Okay, so as you see, it does do the job it's supposed to do, and we're going to unlock this, set this off. So I'm assuming these actually go in here for when you're making sausages. Because I don't have the skins and I'm not making sausage, I'm just using them for here. Just make sure you're careful if you're feeding it in there, because you do not want to obviously get it caught up like I have before. And then all this meat, just take all this, and you see I went through and ran it twice. Like I said, I like running it twice because it just gives me, it lets me know that the meat's really, really ground up and the seasoning is in the meat really well. A little bit here in the tube, get that out. And guys, we are ready with ground venison and ground squirrel to add to the chili. If you want, I'll throw the chili recipe up later on. It's not, I mean, it's just chili. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's more about the meat that you're throwing in there and the seasonings to give it the flavor. Guys, I do appreciate it. Once again, the Cabela's Deluxe Meat Grinder. I'm a fan. It does what it's supposed to do. We'll keep using it, keep testing it, see how long of a life we can get out of it. But in the meantime, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, I'll see you later. I'm going to go ahead and start cooking. Talk to you later.